Welcome. I'm a serial intellectual. I create intellectual products that transform people and change the world. And today I got my brother Hagen on here, and he's a personal trainer. And there are questions I've always wanted to ask a personal trainer. For real, for real, for real. Because I'm not one of them. And welcome, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks again for having me on this podcast. How are you doing?
Good, man. Take a few minutes and tell us like where you're from and how you got into being a personal trainer.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So originally, I'm from Hong Kong. I came to the United States in 2016, but I've always been pretty athletic. Played a lot of sports as a kid. Where I'm from, we kind of separate the kids. Like, okay, are you an academic or are you more of an athlete? I was more an athlete because I wasn't so good with the academics, and I would play like a variety of sports. And I had a personal trainer when I was growing up, so fitness was always a huge part of my lifestyle. So I was like, when I went to college, okay, might as well, focus going down this route. I did my bachelor's in exercise science, the focus on strength and conditioning and weight loss. And that's my story. That's how I became a personal trainer.
Wow, that's amazing. So you got all the background and the education of that. So we were talking before we came online, and I have these questions. I literally have questions. I'm like, I've always wanted to ask a personal trainer these questions.
Hmm.
One of them that I didn't have on my list was the impact that cell phones are having on people as they
Hmm.
exercise. So you had some great observations. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because what I see is probably mostly negative. People
Yep,
like
yep.
scrolling and taking 3 hours to do what should take
Yeah,
one
yeah,
hour. Like, what's going on
yeah,
with
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. It sucks nowadays, right? Especially like the younger generation, they're just glued to their phones and they're just doom scrolling, right? And it's the worst when they're like just kind of completely distracted and they're just sitting on a machine or some type of equipment and they lose track of time. And what would have been a 1 hour workout turns into like a 3 hour workout. I mean, I've been there myself and I had to catch that myself. So I think that's definitely a negative aspect of using phones. But at the same time, there are positive aspects because with the way I run my fitness coaching business, I provide training programs for my clients and they view those programs through their phone with an app. So that way, when they do go to the gym, they have exactly step by step a structure and a plan of what exercises to do, what sets and reps to do. So, in that respect, I think having a phone can be beneficial. Plus, if you like to listen to music, there are studies that show, as we discussed, that if you're listening to music that you resonate with and it touches on your emotions, it will increase your performance in the gym. So there are positive aspects to having a phone in the gym. You just gotta make sure that you're not like distracted and doom scrolling when you're in the gym.
Yeah, that's a great insight. So let's get into it. What are some of the common mistakes you see people making when they start to get into fitness?
Great question, man. The number one biggest mistake I see when people are starting their fitness journey is this all or nothing mentality. Because most people, when they get started with something new, especially fitness, they're very enthusiastic, they're super motivated, which is great, right? But then they kind of want to go all out because it's something new, it's exciting, and they're like, I want to train 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I'll do two a days, and I'm going to cut out this and cut out that, right? When is that going to work? Absolutely, right? Because you're being extremely restrictive. But then, how long can you actually maintain that for the long term, right? So let's say you lose some weight in like a couple weeks, okay, but what the way you did that was extremely restrictive. So whether or not you can keep that sustainable for a long time, like I don't know, right? So my philosophy is like, okay, take a look at your lifestyle, take a look at what your goals are. We're going to construct a plan that is tailored to your lifestyle and it's also done in a sustainable way. We're not going to go in the extreme direction. That way, you're more likely to actually maintain your results for the long term. Because at the end of the day, fitness has to be part of your lifestyle. It's not something that you just do for like 6 weeks or 90 days. And then you're like, oh, I reached my goal. That's it. I don't have to think about fitness ever again. That's not how it works, right? Because we can get to your goal, but if you're not maintaining it every day, every week, every month, it doesn't matter.
And you know this because you're a trainer. This is even more important the older you get. Like I'm 56 and I consider myself to be in decent shape, but I see so many people my age and older. I'm getting back in the gym and what'd you do today? And they're in there like, I'm like, dude, you got way too much weight. Look, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, I hurt my shoulder. I can't work out for 8 months.
Yeah.
Like, what were you thinking? So I love that you're creating like reasonable and sustainable plans. That is
Yes.
so great, man. What
Yes.
what do you think the relationship is between our physical fitness and our mental and emotional health?
Oh, it's huge, man, and people don't even talk about this. So one of my company's mottos is I don't believe that you're truly winning at life if you're not first winning in your body, right? Because your physicality is the projection. Like everybody looks at you. People say don't judge a book by its cover, but let's be real. Like everybody judges the book by its cover, and like if you see someone who's out of shape, you would know like, oh, that guy, he's not very disciplined. He probably doesn't work out. He probably doesn't eat healthy. But conversely, if you see someone who's like in excellent shape, let's say they walk into a room, immediately, subconsciously, and it's innate in our DNA, you can just tell and you know, oh shit, like, damn, that guy's in excellent shape. Like, I have respect for that guy because we all know deep down, even though we won't say it necessarily, that you have to put in a lot of hard work and sacrifice to achieve that. Right. So the amount of mental fortitude you need to reach that level of physicality can affect every other aspect of your life as well. Right. The discipline and the motivation and everything.
Yeah, that's so true. And the thing is it's so crazy how we compartmentalize everything. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
And we don't
Hmm.
see
Hmm.
ourselves as like body, mind, soul, spirit, like just a unit, right?
Yes. I would even say like people are always talking about how they're going through depression, they're going through anxiety, and I would actually argue that you're depressed and you're anxious because you're not going to the gym, right? People say like, I can't go to the gym. I feel depressed. I feel like, well, you feel depressed and anxious because you're not going to the gym. So it's kind of like that change of that mindset.
Yeah, tell me, I agree with that. Tell me what you think of this. So I've actually told people that when they feel anxiety and depression, and I'm always qualified because, I don't want to make anybody mad, but I'm always
Hmm.
like, I think one of the best things you can do is exercise.
Yes.
Because think about this practically. If you are feeling anxiety or depression, or you're just feeling blah, right? If you go on a walk, I'm just talking about a walk. If you get
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
5 minutes in, your brain goes, well, I can't continue to focus on my anxiety and on my stuff because I've got to redirect energy to walking. It's even
Hmm.
better if you're like lifting weights, running, and doing a lot because your body's very simple. It's survival. It's like, well, we got to redirect. So I think like going to the gym and working out and exerting yourself is one of the best things you can do to kind of regulate your mental and emotional health. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100% agree, man. That's like the missing key in most people, like their problems nowadays in society. Just look at the United States, for example. Like 50% of people are overweight, and you just walk into any supermarket, you walk into an airport, and just people are just like in mediocre shape. And there's also at the same time an epidemic of depression and anxiety. So if you simply just started getting more active and started going to the gym and lifting more weights, not only are you going to get physical benefits, but your mental health is going to improve. Why? Because you're also doing hard things and overcoming challenges in the gym. And if you prove to yourself that you can do that physically, well, guess what? That's going to improve your mental health as well.
Yeah. It's like resilience comes from resilience. And you don't go from
Exactly.
resilience from 0 to 10. You got to go 1, 2, 3. And if you do hard things, you prepare yourself for hard things. I remember one time someone asked me, why do you swim so much? Why do you swim 2 to 3 miles a week? And I said, I swim to live. And they go,
Hmm.
what? I thought you like trusted God. I go, I do. But practically, swimming gets my mind off a lot of stuff. It's so therapeutic. So
Yeah.
I really believe in that. Hey, what do you think the relationship is between personal fitness and success in life?
Oh, 100%, man. But I will preface this by saying just because you're physically fit doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be super successful, right? There are two avenues to this. And just because you're super successful doesn't mean you're going to be really, really fit, right? Because there's a common saying in the, because I go to a lot of networking events and I'm in this business where I'll meet a lot of other entrepreneurs. Like they always say, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything else. I actually disagree with that statement because there's a lot of broke bodybuilders who are in excellent shape, right? But at the same time, there are a lot of extremely successful business owners and entrepreneurs, seven, eight figure businesses, but they're completely out of shape. And those are a lot of the clients that I take on. Like, okay, if how you do one thing is how you do everything, so why are you so successful in your business and your career, but then you put your body in the back burner, right? So I think it's a yes, being fit and starting an exercise routine and engaging in training is going to impact your life positively, but you have to be able to balance the two. And you have to recognize that, okay, well, I actually have to put in the work in order to be good in both aspects.
Yeah. That's clear. That's powerful. What would you say to someone who said, Hagen, I want to get started on my personal fitness journey. Where should I start? What's one thing you would say that to give them advice to? Where would they start?
I would say before even thinking about the technicalities of the training and nutrition, first ask yourself and be very, very clear with yourself. Look, why am I doing this and what is my main goal? Like, be as specific as possible because I talk to people all the time and I ask them, like, hey, what are your fitness goals? And they'll just give me something extremely vague and there's no emotion to it. They'll say, like, I just want to be healthy or I just want to lose weight. Like, yeah, okay, that's valid. I understand. Like, I'm sure everybody wants to be healthy and everybody has some weight to lose, but that's a very, very vague thing to say, right? When I talk to people who are like extremely motivated and they cannot delay the process of starting anymore. You know the words that they tell me, how they tell me about their fitness goals. They're like, I want to be absolutely shredded. Like I want to feel like when I walk into a room, everybody's just staring at me. But like I have people who are like recently divorced, and they're like, I want my revenge body. Like the words that they use and the way they explain it is just so much more emotion to it. And guess what? That emotion leads to the motivation. Because if you don't have motivation, you're not going to be able to stay disciplined on your weight loss or fitness journey. And so many people, they're going through this world and they just have this vague goal, like, I just want to be healthy. I just want to lose weight. It's not as like you got to be more specific to that. You got to have a target. You got to have a focus, exactly what you want, and just be able to admit that you want that. Then you can start your fitness journey because then you'll know what to do.
Yeah. Kind of like your why precedes your what type stuff. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. What are some of the benefits of having a personal trainer over and against? I'm just going to do it on my own.
Well, here's the thing. Like, why would you hire an accountant or why would you hire a lawyer? Like, why would you hire anybody in their respective field? Is because they're an expert in their field and they know what they're doing. Right? You can do it on your own if you want. I mean, you can Google how to lose weight, how to get a six pack, how to build muscle. Fitness is free on the internet. So you can do all this stuff on your own, but at the end of the day, you either pay with your time or you pay with your money. So if I knew nothing about fitness, yeah, sure, I could spend, hours and hours Googling YouTube, trying to piece everything together. Okay, how do I do this for this specific goal? What kind of training program? What's the nutrition protocol? Or I could just pay someone and be like, hey, these are my goals. Can you coach me? Can you give me the structure? There you go.
Love it. So, what do you think the real reasons are that people aren't exercising? Like the real ones, not the whatever, but the real ones.
I think the real reason is, as I discussed before, there's no desire and they're not clear with what they actually want. And they're not honest with themselves. So, for example, one of the core values of my company is core value number one, which is be honest with yourself, telling yourself the truth, looking at yourself in the mirror with your shirt off and ask yourself, hey, am I really happy and confident with how I look with my shirt off? Right. And if the answer is no, okay, then step two is like, okay, then admitting that you want to change. A lot of people, they don't even get through these first two steps, which is why they're kind of stuck in this limbo. Sometimes they'll exercise, But if it doesn't happen, it's not a big deal. But then they'll still do things. They'll still go to the gym. They'll still try to cut out this, cut out that. They'll still do things that are quote unquote health related, fitness related, but they never actually go all in. And that's what's holding them back from actually reaching their goal.
That's so good, man. It's so holistic. I love to hear when people are about the holistic thing, not you're
Absolutely.
so holistic.
I
Suppose
appreciate
somebody,
it.
yeah, man, no, it's the truth. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's the truth. But
Yeah, yeah.
suppose somebody came to you and they just said, you know what, Hagen, I've heard a little bit about you and I want to know why should I specifically work with you?
Well, experience aside, knowledge aside, I mean, I've been in the industry for a long time. I feel like what sets me apart from these other online fitness coaches or personal trainers in general is just my message and the way that I talk to potential clients and the clients that I have. As you mentioned earlier, you really appreciate my holistic view. I don't talk a lot about the specifics about the training and the nutrition. I like to talk more about the mindset and the motivation and getting that desire out of you. Because if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what kind of training and nutrition plan I give you. Right? I've been doing this for 7+ years, and I've noticed, like, okay, why is it that some people, it's the same protocol, it's the same training plan, they'll get really good results, but then other people, they just kind of give up and they fall off and they don't see results. Well, it has nothing to do with the technicalities of the training and the nutrition. It has more to do with the mindset and the motivation and getting that internal desire out of them to actually want to commit to this and follow through with what they said they wanted to do. So it's one thing to like give you a plan. Like anybody can give you a plan and tell you to follow it. Not everybody can actually sit down and coach you on a deeper level and get that internal desire out of you and help you stay motivated on the journey.
Yeah, today I was making content and tell me what you think of this. And I basically said, how is more important than what? And the
Yes, yes,
illustration I
yes.
used was that, let's suppose somebody was like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to drive, get in the car, and they drove you around and they talked to you for an hour about all the places they drove and how many awards and they made so much money driving and all this stuff. And then they park the car and they put you in. They're like, okay, your turn. And you're like, whoa, you just told me what? You didn't tell me how. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like when I hear you talk, I hear what, but I hear a lot of how. And so many people, you know this, Hagen, because you just know this because you're an entrepreneur. So many people sell people on the what and leave the how out. And so people
yes,
are like
yes.
frustrated and they're quitting because they literally don't know how to do the thing. Like literally, step, step, step. And then when they get obstacles, right? Because you're going to face obstacles, you're the type of trainer that's going to help them work through them and show them how to overcome the mental, emotional, physical obstacles. A lot of
Yes,
people
yes,
don't do
yes.
that, bro.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that you appreciate that and you recognize that because I think that's what's missing, not only in the fitness industry, but like in every other online industry space, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's rampant. People sell what and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't care about how. And then you
No,
wonder,
no.
there's like all these people behind them. It's like you just have fans. You don't have like in the religious world, like you don't have a disciple, you don't have a learner. It
Mhm.
sounds to me, Hagen, you're like teaching people what and how so they have skills.
Yes,
They're
yes.
developing a skill set in every aspect of their life that supports their fitness journey. And
Exactly. Exactly.
that's tremendous, bro.
And that
And
skills that can even be imported to other aspects of their life as well.
absolutely, it's transferable because the principles are transcendent.
Yep, yep.
Beautiful. So, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram. So on Instagram, it would be Hagen underscore SL. So HAGEN underscore SL. And I'm also starting to do like weekly podcasts on my YouTube channel. You can just Google my name, Hagen Wong. And yeah, I'm basically most active on Instagram and YouTube.
That's awesome, man. You know, life is incredible because I met you in Lutz. I
Yeah,
realized
yeah.
that it's not called Lutz, it's Lutz.
Yeah. Oh,
And
really? Really?
Yeah, yeah. And I saw you, and everything you talked about was true. I saw your persona. I obviously saw that you were fit, you're positive. You know, you and your buddy, and I
Yep,
was
yep.
like, these guys are good. And I was like, I gotta get around these guys. They're leaking
Yeah,
good stuff. They got good energy. And it
yeah.
was a mistake. I'm so happy to be able to do this, and I know that this is going to help a lot of people. And I hope, and I'm going to tell everybody, like, you got to see my main man. He'll hook you
Dude,
up.
I
He's
appreciate
gonna,
it.
he's
Yeah,
gonna, he's gonna, he's gonna bless you.
appreciate it so much, man. Yeah, let's get some cigars again one time.
Yes, sir. All right. Grace and peace, everybody.